Hello guys, well I am back again. You saw a bit of a sneak peek of this in the video where I showed the packs that you can buy. So there's still some available on the website, so you can go and get yourself some packs to make your own box pouch. So what I did, I just sewed here and then just sewed around there and used that square of that was left over when I sewed this on. So I mean, if you want to, you can embellish and sew that a little bit further, and see how it doesn't quite fit the edge. It's okay because we're going to be sewing it together. So that's this bit. I opted for a sort of like a darker reddy pink to sort of bring in these colours, and then I put a French knot in there as well. Oh, a bit close. So just stitch those down. So what you do now is you go this way. I did give it a bit of an iron, and we are going to stitch down these sides. Now if you have got two bits, which I said, you know, like it's either easier to do it either way, so but remember, if you have one long bit, see how that's facing that way and this is facing that way, you've got to make sure that they're facing a different way. So we are going to stitch those two bits down. Then I've got this, which is the same size as that, but we need because I've got I want to have an extra colour. If you've got something like this, see here, when I'd stitched this one, all I did was, because the width of the pouch is 10 by 7, so, well, actually it would be 10 by 14 is if you did it. So what I would do when I did, because when I did my other one, I just did 8. So 8 and 8, 16. So you go 16 if you've got the same colour, which makes this stick out a little bit more, and then you fold it over and use that as the edge. But because I've wanting to have a different colour, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut this about 1.5 inches. So I'll have 2 strips at 1.5 inches. There, I'm not too worried whether that is perfect or not. Now, haven't got the sharpest things. Hopefully it's sharp enough. Threads all over. So got about 1.5 inches. We go in there. Yeah, there's 1.5 inches. That's one piece. 1.5 inches. Okay, so what I do is I am going to sew. I'll put this back. Notice I've got my mat back, which is good. This is such a pretty colour. It's just a calico-y homespun that I've got. So what I do with this is I sew. Now find out which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side. Okay, hang 10. So what I'm going to do is just sew a strip, and then because it's 1/4 inch seam, that's why you need the extra 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches. I think that might have been 1.25 inches. Oh my goodness, give us a look. Which is fine. I think probably 1.25 inches. Yeah, because you have 1/4 inch to sew, and all we want, because I found this was too thick, I prefer that thinner one. So yeah, so 1.25 inches, not 1.5 inches. There we go. But if you wanted it a little bit thicker, you can do 1.5 inches. So what I'll do is I'm just going to pin these down. And then go to the machine and sew those bits on, and then we fold them up so we sew that on, then you iron that down, then you put, okay, I'm going to do that, sew that, and then fold that down, and then you have your right sides together like that, and do the same like on this, sewing these sides. I better pin that. Okay, there we go, just pin it, and there's my bit that I sewed together. It's the beauty of using wool and wadding, you just sew it together. So I'll be back to show you how to do the box part, the boxy part. I'll just pause and then come back. Get off. Okay. Okay, I'm going to cut that a little bit off. Okay, well I'll come back when that is done. So I'll pause it. Okay, I am back again. So I've sewed these down. So I sewed that onto it like that, and I'll just take these little bits out. And now what we do is we get these bits like this. So you've got that piece like that, and both with the inside piece and the and this piece as well, you fold it, and if you make sure that they're folded in the middle, okay, all down and go a certain way. Okay, you sort of want it to go like that. Okay, so what we do, see if it's matched up with that, which it should be. Okay, now what I usually do for this size pouch, I usually go 1 inch. So I get that. My other pen's somewhere else, and just measure that. If you want, you can put a pin in it. Pins are over here. I'll sew that. Then do the same for the other side. Get that, hold those. So you just measure it so it's at that point. Now, when you've got two pieces that you sew together and everything, this part is a little easier because you've got the line on the bottom sort of guiding you, if you know what I mean. So sometimes it is easier having that part, you know, like having two individual pieces. Okay, so what we do is we go so, and we do the same with this. So you've got your box pouch, it's inside out. Have it flat. Now this is a little bit thicker, but not impossible. Okay, stitch. There we go. I find marking it is easier. Might pin that down. And then doing the same on this side. Yeah, it's quite thick, but it's okay. An inch. And then you sew along there, and I will show you what to do once it's been sewn. So I'll just quickly pause and okay, we are back. Oh, this thing is jiggling everywhere. So it gets pretty tough to sew through the wool, but it's okay. So make sure you've got a decent needle on there. So what we're going to do, and this is the scary part, we're going to just chop that off. And if you want to, you can save these little bits. Not that I'm too worried about that. Then we're going to chop this off. Okay. Now, we turn this way, turn them inside out. Now if you want a wider bottom, you go further in, you go 1.5 inches in, or whatever it is that you want to, you know, how wide you want it. So that's the width of these ones I've done. This does seem a little bit smaller, but that's okay. So that's how it looks. Now what we do is we do the same with this. Cut this off. Where are we? It's definitely a lot easier to sew this, that's for sure, because it's thinner material. Okay. Now we leave that inside out, and we put that in here. What I'm going to do first though is I'm going to fold that to there. It's probably easier to do when it's fold it to that part, because we do need a bit to fold over. So fold it so it's level with the bit on the top, and I'm just going to finger press it all the way around. So you do this while it is inside out. It's going that way, so we'll go with the flow. You can hear a helicopter out there, must be looking for something. Okay. An 1.5 inches might be a little bigger, but if you want a small edging, actually see it tends to be going that way, so fold it that way. Okay, pull. You could probably go down with your iron, make sure that it's sitting down. Okay, we put that in wrong way, and then these bits line up with that. Okay, so what we do now probably does need a bit of an iron, is we get that bit there. See how it's got that edge there? And I am going to pin that, and I'll do the same on that side, just so you know that it's going to sit down. And I will probably, oh, didn't quite grab all of that. Oh well, I'll stitch that down. See how I said, oh, it doesn't really matter. So I might, because you will stitch it in, it did matter on that side. So what I'm going to do, actually go down a little further so it's holding it. Have it on the line. Go down. Got all three? Yep. Okay. So on the other ones I had, is that even lined up? Probably not. There we go. I went on the machine, but I might do this by hand. So we fold it over. And we have got ourselves a really cute little edge, which I am going to pin down. Can be a little bit tricky sometimes, as in fiddly. Come on, have that there. I might start here, fold it over, hit that pin, there we go. I'll start on this side and get the pin. Okay, so line it up so that that bit is with on that. I mean, if you go on the machine, it does grab all, you know, it will grab all the pieces, and it is nice and quick, which is what I've done with that, because it goes through all the layers. Whereas if you sew it by hand, it looks prettier, but I don't feel it's as secure. So there, yep, fiddly. I might sew it on the machine because it's going to be secured all the way around. Yep. And grab that bit over the top. Oh. Sometimes these little bits, these little things can be fiddly. Okay. Okay, have that with that, and fold it over. So it's going to be quite thick on here. It's got a few layers of the blanket. Make sure that that white is lined up with the edge of the piece. Okay. Can be a little fiddly, but it's okay. I think that white fabric. It might have been from Deborah from Dolls House Vintage because it smells really good. I think it might be. Okay, that lined up, yep. Make sure that that gets up and in. Actually, I might use that to go there. And there we go. Ow. What I might do is go back here with a, you know, and just do a running stitch, or even put a bit of lace on there or something just to cover that and hold that in, because I thought it would grab it. It did on that end, but it did on the other end. Okay. Better take this out. Don't want to go through that. Okay, I was going to do it by hand, but I think it will be better to go on the machine. Okay, now tuck that in there like that. Oh, so pretty. So see, the good side is on the inside. So I'll be back and I'll see you in a second. Back again. So you just make sure that you go really slowly. So I love that pink colour, and those little bits here, they really just sit. I might have to hand stitch that down because it might catch, and I think I will. I've got this pinky colour, so I'll hand stitch that down. And while I've got you, I'm not completely finished because that didn't catch, so we're going to find a solution for that. Okay, where are all the little bits and pieces? Still got this piece, but you know, hang on a minute. Oh, now that might be nice. What I could probably do, I should have thought of that before, is stitch that there and then do French knots and bits and pieces. That may work. Okay, what we're going to do, see, never mistakes, just opportunities to do different stuff. Now, okay, I've got, where is it? Here it is, here. Okay, thought you were finished, didn't you? But no, this is how we can fix our mistakes. So I've got this pink and thread that, and I might do a couple of little French knots or some decorating, or even a running stitch in the middle in a sort of like a lighter pink colour, so it looks like it was supposed to be like that. Now, where's the bit? So this is all part of her pack as well, so that works. Now, there is a good side, a right side and a wrong side. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold that over and I'm wondering if I could use this, and I reckon that might do the trick. So that'll hold that down. Now, how long do we want it? I'm going to just glue along here, so it'll help me to stick it down. We're going to stick it down. Where's me pins? Might get the little pins. Yeah, I think I will end up stitching in the middle. Okay, so we've got this bit which we'll cut here. And fold that over. This is where glue comes in handy. Well, not folded over quite enough. Hopefully you guys can still see me. Okay, ooh. So it sits in the middle. There we go. We'll fix that when we get there. That's why you have the thread. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I've got threads everywhere. Is tuck that under and come up underneath there we go. At least if it's tucked under you can't see it too much. Okay, I'm going to need a thimble because you're pushing. So we're doing some hand stitching after all. Okay. Oh, it's quite a long thread. May need it. So I've got a really nice Sherry Iris thread that I might like to use for the middle. And the one thing about the silk ribbon, it actually has, that's the sealed edge, they're not going to fray, which is good. Thank goodness. I was either doing the silk ribbon or getting some more of that rickrack, which I have got, but it's nice that we're actually using the bits from the kit. Where's the lid for that? There it is. And then I'll stitch that down. And because it's got the blanket, you're just going to go through the blanket and not through this part. I love that crisp white and that cute little soft pink. Okay, so what I might do, so you're not bored silly, I could probably pause this again and then come back once it's sewn down. Oh, shouldn't take too long, and I'll be back and then I'll do a running stitch down the middle with, I'm thinking I really do like this colour in that woolly colour. Okay, I'll be back. We're back again. It's been put on and I'm just got the thread stitched up, and then I'm just going to do a running stitch in the middle just to add a little bit of something, and I can feel that I'm not going through all the layers, like I don't want to get through the white, so quite a bit of a thread I've got here, and it still comes out. don't need it quite that big. Try and keep it as straight. Oh, that helicopter's pretty persistent. Don't know what it's monitoring. Okay. I could probably hear it louder than you guys, I think. Now the tricky part is, how are we going to end it off on this side? I kind of like having this thread on there. It's really pretty. Okay. I'm wondering whether I continue this on around the edge. What do you think? I'll have a look, because it's really nice. If we did a little, I don't know. There we go. That's what it looks like, having that little running strip along there. No, I don't know. Don't really want to take away from it. What about round the edge on the bottom? Is there enough on here to go all the way around? There might be. We'll see. It's just that at where I am at this point, there we go. I think that might be pretty. So we've got a hand stitched element anyway. Okie dokie. Well, I think I'm done with you guys, as in you've seen enough, and then that'll tie in with this element. I really do love this thread. It's sort of like a wool, but it's not, and then it's variegated, which is nice, and it's on that soft pink, so it sort of looks like I've hand stitched the edge anyway. So there you go. So no mistakes, only just opportunities to make something look prettier. Okie dokie. Well, I know what else I need to put on here. Did I do? I don't think I did on any of these. I didn't have a tag. Oh, could probably use a yo-yo, but we want to sort of have them all a little bit different. Oh, it has got a yo-yo. Okie dokie. Well, I am going to finish up. Just leave that in there. And I am quite happy with how that sits. And it does sit rather nice. There we go. So another pretty box pouch for my thing, and I can choose to have whichever colour that I want. So this one has got, you know, 2 different sides as well, whereas that has got that and that. They both have different sides, so I can, you know, choose whichever side I want to have. Okie dokie. Well, I am very happy with this, and I am going to continue doing this off camera, but you've got the drift of what we want to do in there. And then I'm going to continue on with my sewing pattern, and as in because I would like to make that into a bigger box pouch, to put all my bits of, you know, this stuff in, because this is not big enough for as that sewing baskety thing. And what I would need to do that with that is would definitely need to be bigger than an inch. That would probably have to be, because it's a bigger box, I reckon it probably might even need to be 4 inches in, or 3, maybe even 4. So we'll see when we get to that. So I'm going to finish stitching it, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll go and grab it. This piece here, which is coming along rather nicely. I've almost finished stitching. I've got this part, and then I've just got that little bit that you do there, and then I've got to work on the machine. So there'll be quite a few parts left of this one, and then I've picked off the quilting off this because I'm using this as the other side, because I've got 2 sides. Yeah, gonna be nice. Okay, I'll just see how I go with that, but for now I've got to concentrate on finishing that. Okay guys, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed stitching along with me. Grab your pack in the website. Yeah, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. I've really enjoyed doing this. This is like you know, my next new thing. I think Corinne likes doing her rice bags, but these are just so much easier and similar size, just sort of a bit more rectangle. Yeah, here's that one. Yeah, see if it does sit any better. Hang a minute, I'll have a look. We'll put some stuff in there. What do we got? There we go. Some threads, fabrics, threads. Oh yeah, it's not bad. Fits stuff pretty well. Okay, enough of my babbling. Catch you later. Bye.